What's up? What's happening? I stole James's name. What? Hey guys, welcome to the Red 5 Dev Q&A. How's it going? Can you guys hear me okay?
I see Hoder.
All right.
Master of FM.
Okay guys, so what we're going to do today is going to start off with the wonderful interview by Destructoid. We have Daniel Starkey on the line. He's going to go ahead and do a couple questions for our guys here. For those of you that don't know, we have James McCauley on the far left. We have Mark Kern in the center, and Scott Youngblood hanging out with us. You guys can say hello.
It's great to have you with us, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
And here we go. So we're going to go ahead and pass off to Daniel Starkey. Daniel, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
We can.
Yep.
Hey, Daniel.
All right. So do you guys want to just go into it?
Party time. Let's do this.
All right. So I had a bunch of questions about SOPA, the League for Gamers, and all that other stuff going on with for Mark Kern. But earlier today, ESA announced that they're pulling support from SOPA and PIPA. So I guess might as well ask, what do you guys plan on doing with E3? Do you tend to go there? And what are future plans for the League for Gamers?
Sure, yeah. I believe that early, first thing this morning, that the vote for Protect IP was indefinitely shelved, which effectively kills both SOPA and PIPA for now. And while we applaud, I'm speaking for League for Gamers right now, while we applaud the ESA's decision to withdraw their support for these bills, we kind of wish it'd come before they were defeated rather than afterwards. And so I think we need to remain ever vigilant. And the fact that they've sunk almost $200,000 into sponsoring this type of legislation in the first place means that there really is room for another group, kind of a checks and balances out there to make sure that this kind of thing doesn't happen again, because it will resurface. It's always going to come back with new wording, and we're always going to need to be there. But kudos to the gamers out there. What an amazing job you guys did. Thanks for supporting the LFG. This is our first victory for the LFG. That's huge for an organization that just started Saturday, and we're going to keep going. And we don't have any plans to go back to E3. The ESA was not very kind to us when they heard about our cancellation paperwork. So we don't feel very welcome at the show. We're not gonna be there. But you'll see us in plenty of other places.
All right. And I kind of realize this is a bit speculative, but given your experience in the gaming industry, what do you think is the best strategy for stamping out piracy?
I think there's a real good example that already exists out there. There is an entire game industry out there worth billions of dollars in countries that have humongous rates of piracy, and you don't need DRM. You don't need any of this, and that's Asia. I mean, all these online games out there are pulling in tremendous amounts of money. There is a huge viable gaming industry out there, and it's all server-based, it's all cloud-based, it's all web-based, and they have no piracy problems there whatsoever. They're able to build for these types of games, they're able to build a very successful business. Why can't we do that here? I think what we're really seeing with this type of legislation is an attempt to protect the past and the old business models, mainly by controlling distribution, right? I'm the only one who can give this to you. But what Red 5's all about, and kind of what they've discovered in Asia, is we don't care who gives it to you. We're just going to find a way to make money of it regardless.
Okay. Gabe Newell and many others have said in interviews that they think the best counter to piracy is providing a top-tier service. That kind of feeds into what you were saying about a lot of Asian MMOs and those kinds of things. And so I'm wondering, what how do you feel about that?
I think he's absolutely right. A lot of for example, internet video content that's popular out there. If you look at Freddie Wong's videos and stuff, gathering 5 million views a hit, he's not concerned about who's copying his videos and posting them on another site. I mean, he's all about staying fresh. No one can do what he does. He competes on content. He competes on frequency and offering, you know, what people really want. And that's how he stays ahead, and he gets his advertising dollars and gets his sponsorships and everything else. And that's really the future.
All right. I think this is the last question I've got for you about the League for Gamers. And so, you know, what are your future plans? Do you intend on starting like your own convention? Do you want to kind of build up a network, kind of like what the Video Game Voters Network has? Start tapping college students, start tapping voters. What is your grand goal here, if you're, you know, willing to admit that now?
Sure. You know, we've been thinking about this over the past couple of days, and I think that one of the primary functions of LFG is really going to be just to broaden and to enhance the gaming hobby, and especially gaming as an esport, to help developers get started, to be a resource for them, in this brave new world of, you know, digital distribution and you know, being able to go direct to consumer, and to continue to have a political function, to sit there and to really look at this legislation coming in, so we don't get surprised again, so we don't get caught off guard by SOPA and PIPA. We hear about it, and gamers hear about it. We can get the word out about it, so we can gather support for that. And also to enlist like-minded developers who maybe are more free-to-play or direct-to-gamer focused, who don't really fit into the old box game distribution model anymore, and the ones who are disappointed with the ESA stance. They need an alternative voice, and we need, like I said, checks and balances. So LFG is going to be here for a long time, and you know, it's already working, and we just want to just make it more and more successful over time.
All right, thank you. So I guess the big thing that we're really here to talk about is FireFall. So why don't you guys tell us a little bit about FireFall, how you got the idea, why an MMO FPS, what it's all about, that kind of thing.
So the idea was really Mark's. He came up with this all on his own, completely in a vacuum, and decided, hey, you know, let's make a new type of game. I can only really comment around my involvement. You know, I came on board as part of the Golden Ticket. They had already decided that they wanted to do a shooter, and you know, based on my history, my background, the games that I liked, you know, they thought I'd be a good part to fit in this Red 5 pie of awesome. And so, you know, now I'm here, big slice of cherry, and things are going good. The game is turning out to be, you know, it's for me, this is a labor of love. This is a game I've always wanted to make. You know, it's an accumulation of components from other games to provide an experience that players can't get anywhere else, right? It's something that's fun for us to hang out, socialize, and kick some ass together. And for me, you know, playing games, especially social games, is about playing with your friends and having fun with your friends. And, you know, having an experience that we can do cool stuff to, for, and against each other that, you know, we all talk about when we're having beers later. And, you know, that to me that's the whole point of doing this, right, is to have a fun social experience that, you know, it's a positive one. At the end of the day, you know, we're all excited and we can't wait to play more. At least that's my perspective. So I'll hand it over to James for his.
Is this one live? I guess we got a couple mics here. Yeah, I mean, at the core, we're a bunch of hardcore gamers. We're a bunch of gamers here at Red 5. We're passionate about games and actually a wide range of games. And really, you know, we set out to build a kick-ass online team-based shooter. That was really the goal, right? Like, we wanted to make something that had never been done before and take the free-to-play online team-based shooter to an entirely new level, where we actually, you know, start with a core mechanic of combat and make it super badass and super fun, and then add layers on top of that from you know, other games, other genres even that we've come to really love and cherish ourselves as gamers, right? So if you look at FireFall, you'll see elements absolutely from RPGs, and you'll see, you know, things like deep character progression and our different classes and the equipment that you can actually truly customize as a player. You can actually spend time manufacturing better battle frames, better backpacks, different weapons that actually give you different utility in battle, that give you different combat styles in when you're going PvP, when you're going competing in one of our esports maps. But then we also grabbed elements from other genres like RTS games with a real emphasis on resource collection. So as a player, you'll be able to go out and scan the world for different resource types. And you'll actually be able to zero in on specific mines or veins where you'll actually be calling down your personal mining device or a thumper, which some of you have probably seen in our gameplay footage, where you'll actually be collecting and harvesting these resources, which are absolutely critical to your ability to really advance your personal and your army equipment and technology.
Well, let's give them some new stuff here, right? Like, people have heard our spiel about FireFall, but nobody knows how it really started, right? Like, when we started the company, I actually wanted to make an online dating site in an MMO
man, here we're going.
And
Romper
I was so fried from World of Warcraft. I said, that's the last thing I want to do is make another game, but maybe I can use this persistent world technology to at least, you know, try out a date before actually deciding to go on a physical date. And then we said, you know, that's getting kind of boring. I really still want to do games. And so we said, let's make, you know, we're playing so much Battlefield on the WoW team.
By the way, that's our second title coming down the pipe.
Yeah, we're going to call it Romp.
It's now public. It's been announced.
Yep.
Everyone knows. Get the domain name. Buy the domain name.
And then we said, you know what? How about we make a game instead? Because this dating thing is kind of stupid. So we're like, okay, so we were playing Battlefield, so it was going to be a World War II shooter. Because we thought that World War II Online had so much promise, but then we're like, okay, now we need progression, we need interesting things. So we started adding, like, you know, zombies and Hitler's fascination with the paranormal, and then we're like, oh, now we're just going to piss off all the World War II fans. But we recognized that we needed a real latitude, a real breadth of scope, something truly epic, like a space opera. And so we're like, okay, let's make it FireFall. And that's how it really all came about. There you go. That's new information. It's out in the public.
That's going way back.
Yeah.
That's for you guys.
It's 6 years ago.
Get romped.
Well, so where are we today, Mark? Back to FireFall. After several evolutions, we grabbed what we love from other games and other genres, right? We looked at games, even MMOs. Absolutely, there's a massive element of MMO to FireFall, and really, as Scott was saying, one of the things that we all found to be extremely important was the social aspect of gaming, right? Some of the most fun that we've all had playing games has been in the LAN setting or on the couch playing console games or playing online, right? Competitively or even cooperatively, like playing games like MMOs or online competitive shooters. And so really breathing a lot of life into the social aspect of FireFall was a big priority for us, right? Making sure that we really are a team-based game. And this starts at the core of combat, you know, and how we design our classes to make sure that you really wanted to play together, that teams that really unite, and we've seen this in the beta, and we've seen this in some of our tournaments that we've held, right, that teams that really unite and pull together, they dominate. They have the most fun, and they also are the most successful at it.
Team-based dating.
Team-based action dating. And so as you look at FireFall, at the core, we're an online team-based shooter, but there's so much more, and we just keep adding layers to it, and we will continue to do this for years to come. Really, our internal philosophy is that we are building a service, right? We're building a service that will support for as many years as gamers are coming to play with us, coming to party with us. And, you know, we have years of content planned out and years of features, things that we'd love to talk about today, but they're a little ways out, so we're holding off saying too much, but we're super excited about the future of where FireFall is going to go.
Okay. I understand that that there's kind of a limited beta right now, and so when do you start? When do you plan on expanding it and inviting more players in?
You know, we're going to have a dev diary about this soon to go over maybe visually what we've talked about on the forums. We're in a period of what we call exclusive beta because we're launching this in a pretty new way. It's kind of, we've talked about it for over a year now, how we want to do this kind of like Gmail-style invite system where we're basically inviting a core group of people and then growing through their social network by giving them invitations that they can then give to their friends. So, you know, I think that the key milestones to look at is no longer like closed beta, open beta launch. It's really about when this feature is online or when that content's online. And, we plan to have the store here fairly soon. And after that, even before that, we're gonna have some open world action. So we're finally getting that online. So we went from getting the PvP experience, that weapon field down, getting all that feedback, making sure we had core combat that could scale to a lot of users, and then expanding that to the open world. And it's like, okay, now let's bring monetization online. And at that point, probably you'll see us send out more and more invites all on the way. And it's not going to be this linear thing. It's really going to just kind of like be this exponential curve, we hope, because of the Gmail system.
Where can people sign up for like initial invites from you guys?
Oh, just go to www.firefallthegame.com, and there is a link there to be put on the list to be invited to beta. And we're sending out invites every week now, so we hope to get through everybody who's been waiting so patiently. Thank you so much. It's not too much longer now, and you'll also in turn get invites. The other alternative is to just become really good friends with someone on the forum who might get in before you do, and then he'll give you his friend invite.
Yeah, as Mark said, every week we're giving out more invites, and we're giving out invites to individuals who've signed up as part of our community through firefallthegame.com. But we're also giving out additional invites to all of our current beta participants. And really one of the goals there, and this is why we refer to the Gmail style invite system, it's really trying to build a strong community, right? And to really give players opportunities to invite their close friends, their siblings, their roommates, their clan buddies to join in the action and to come have fun with them on a regular basis playing Firefall.
Great. What kinds of game modes can we expect? I know I'm a little bit more of a casual player, not so much into the esports thing, but from what I've played of Firefall, I really enjoyed it. So what kind of modes are there for people outside of esports?
So our goals are really to support the traditional game modes that you would expect from other shooter style games, but really spin them with kind of a Firefall take on them, as well as producing new game modes down the road that are more unique to Firefall. So currently we have like Team Deathmatch that's up and running. We have an attack defend mode that we've seen with Orbital Comm Tower. In an upcoming map, we're going to unleash a new game type, which people will get to explore. And then we'll hit, the more popular ones. Like I'd really like to see CTF. That's something that we're planning on doing. But really, it's like, what kind of game modes do you guys want to see, right? We're building this game for you. So if there's a particular game mode that you think would be the right fit for Firefall, that it has to be there, let us know. Let us know what the rules are, how you want to play it, and if it makes sense, we'll give it to you.
All right. What kind of maps have been set up and announced so far?
The ones that we've publicly talked about and we've actually shared at conferences, we first announced Sunken Harbor last spring at PAX East. Sunken Harbor is a team deathmatch. It's a squad versus squad, 5-on-5 team deathmatch. You're shooting for 25 points. Our personal spin on it, our own spin on it, is actually that you only receive a point when you've actually fully killed an enemy. And we have a downed state, which adds a lot of really cool mechanics or elements to combat, because you can always go out and revive your ally, or as an enemy, you can go and execute a downed enemy to get your point right away. In some cases, teams prefer to leave downed enemies out because they're out drawing the attention of their allies, hopefully to come and they're bait, really. You'll see a lot of recons planting long-range mines at corpses, hoping that their allies will come to revive them, and then the mine goes off and they're dead. Now you get 2 points for the price of 1. But Team Deathmatch, Sunken Harbor is a smaller arena-style map, really focused on getting players into the action immediately and really focused on their hand-to-hand combat, or their close-range combat. No melee. Sorry, that was a slip-up. Whoops. The second map that we announced was actually at PAX in September up in Seattle, and we introduced Orbital Comm Tower, which is a game type called Sabotage. Listen, all you all, this is Sabotage. And it's a 2-round map where one team, it's 10 on 10. One army will actually try to assault the enemy's base and capture the actual Orbital Comm Tower, while the other team tries to defend it. And so there are 3 points, 3 objectives: point A, point B, point C. The hackers or the offensive team will try to hack the terminals. There's a skirmish inside each of the buildings, each of the objectives, while the defenders try to unhack the objective and take it back. And it's really a lot of fun. It is a 2-round match that we've been really enjoying in our beta test so far. And shortly, sometime in the next few moments, I'm not sure exactly when, but we'll be introducing a new game type that we're very excited about sharing with the public. And we've had a lot of fun internally and with our beta testers playing it recently, so we're excited to share that with you all.
Why wait?
Well, alrighty then. Put me on the spot there, Daniel. Let's do this. So for the first time publicly discussed, we're introducing a new game type and a new map. This one is a much larger map. It's actually 15 on 15, and it's designed to be Army versus Army competitive style map. And it's really a very, it's similar to a capture and hold mechanic. It's called Harvester. And in this case, as an Army, you're actually trying to collect crystite and other rare crystite hybrids with harvesters. And this specific map has 3 harvesters in place. Once the round starts, your team, your army actually races out after each of the harvesters, trying to actually capture and hold each of these harvesters, and you're collecting resources the entire time. Now, there's plenty of opportunities for enemies to come and take over your harvester, to wipe your squad out and take it over and set up their own defenses, to throw down turrets and force fields and so forth. But there's also an interesting mechanic where every 2.5 minutes a dropship flies overhead, and in the middle of the map it drops down a resource boost, resource harvesting boost. And you know what? Without so that I don't spoil any more of what's about to come, why don't we jump on over to the video? Thanks, Matt. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's Blackwater Harvester. Blackwater is actually located southeast of Smokestack. If you're familiar with some of our previous gameplay videos, you might be familiar with Dredge, which is a key town in New Eden. And all of our PvP maps are actual locations in the open world. So as a player playing PvE, going out collecting resources, you'll have opportunities to go and explore and learn these different key locations that then you'll be able to back it up in PvP and have a lot of fun. Okay, and with that, do we have any more questions?
Let's see. I can't really think of anything else that that I need to ask. So if you want to just throw it out to the community, we can go ahead and do that.
Party time. Hey, community, give us some questions. Bring it on. Are we planning to release a new battle frame? Can we go ahead and say hells yes?
Has anyone noticed the last cosplay video we released? Might be something there.
Yeah. We haven't announced specifics, but we absolutely will plan to release another battle frame. Sorry, what am I looking at?
What is your beta timeline and how long will it take to be open? Are you on schedule?
A wizard is never late. We're doing fine. To be honest, I wish we were a little farther along in releasing more beta keys, but we hit some snags with server stability several months ago. Those of you in the chat who were on beta tests, thank you again for your patience on that. So, but once we got that ironed out, we've been inviting more people, and we're excited to do open world here pretty soon.
There's more questions right there, guys.
Oh.
Talk about graphics.
So all these resources that you're going out and collecting are for a reason, right? The progression in FireFall is really gear-based. So you're using these resources that you collect to craft new gear, as well as being able to upgrade your existing gear and potentially down the road some pretty awesome army technology. You know, a lot of FireFall is really about going out, chasing gear, building it, and then using it to dominate and hear the lamentations of the women.
So there's a question from Dantel. Will there be a full loadout system in the game, much like Tribes 2 for the PC? Our loadout system is actually quite a bit different. We have specific battle frame types that you can level up, you rank up, and as you're doing so, you can really customize your loadout however you want. Every battle frame has their own unique signature weapon, which you can customize. You can change how it fires, its reload time, its damage, and so forth. And you also can pick and choose your own secondary weapons. But maybe most importantly, as a specific battle frame, you customize your abilities. You mix and match which abilities you want to go into battle with. For example, as an assault, you could choose to go in with Crater and Afterburner, or maybe you're not so that's not your thing, and you're more inclined to stay on the ground and do more. You want to do more area splash damage, so you could load up Shockwave and Overcharge, and so you really can customize how your player goes into combat based on your loadout and based how you, the player, have customized your loadout to your playstyle.
See, the beer run's already started. Tiki starting.
Welcome to Tiki Time, guys.
Can we get a shot of our taps over here and the action?
Yeah, it is. We are nearing Tiki Time here in the office.
There we go.
How many character slots? Someone's asking something about character slots. I lost it in chat, but as far as characters go, you know, we're not super concerned about that at this point. Currently, because really we believe that most players will focus on customizing each of their loadouts and leveling up each of their battle frames within their character, and and so we're not as worried about players creating, dozens and dozens of characters per account. And because we are a free-to-play game, there's nothing preventing you from creating a second account. So we kind of feel like we should make it easy for you to create multiple characters if that's something you want to do.
So I see a question there about what's your projected time frame after launch for vehicles. What do you mean after launch?
So we are working on vehicles now, by the way. Just to...
I was just going to leave that out there.
And actually is a nice little tease for our beta testers. Stay tuned. In the near future, we will be introducing something cool on beta for you guys to check out.
I've got another question. One of the things that I was really impressed with when I first started playing FireFall at PAX 11 was just how great it looked. I think you guys really are raising the bar on free-to-play games, and a lot of people have accused other free-to-play titles like League of Legends of being free-to-play, pay-to-win. And I'm curious, as a project that seems to be trying to foster a strong competitive scene, how do you intend to avoid similar criticisms with FireFall?
Right, so pay to win sucks. Life is like that. If you don't have the money, you're not winning. You don't get the best house, you don't get the best car, and you don't attract the best women. We want to be winners in FireFall, so we're not really going to allow you to pay to win. It's not whether or not we would make more money doing that. That's not the point. It's about providing you guys an experience to where you can excel based on your own merits. And yes, we will be selling items, but those items are around improving your experience, not giving you an advantage over your opponents. So items that we can see fitting into that category are time-saving items, aesthetic-based items, or stuff that's like really fun to do with your friends. Like, how cool would it be to have a deployable keg that you could pop down and you and your friends get drunk in FireFall wherever you choose? That seems like a pretty cool item to me.
It's essential freedom, really.
Yes.
Yeah, so internally we've actually, taken it very seriously, that we don't want pay to win, and we want to keep FireFall a skill-based game. And so, we've spent a lot of time really kind of outlining potential things that we could offer in our storefront, and we really categorized them in kind of 5 different categories, and one of them was power, selling power, which, as we've just been saying, is something that we're opposed to. So that entire category of things that we could potentially sell, we've taken off the wall. We've just taken down and said that's not something we want to do. That's not what FireFall is all about.
Okay, I see a question about how many bosses and giants are there in the game. Right now, we're not featuring any of those in beta, and to tell you the truth, we're still working on making the Titan something that's really fun before you'll get to see it. So that'll be the first one you see when it's ready, but, it's just not something that we're ready to ship right now.
Well, and who knows what's in the melding? I mean, I sure as hell don't. What's going to come out? I guess we'll find out.
The melding holds everything.
There was a question about whether we're using XNA, and the answer is no. FireFall, we're writing our own tech, our own engine. We've been working on this for quite some time, and we started back in 2006. We licensed the Offset engine. Some of you may recall Project Offset. We were close friends with the group doing Offset. They were a bunch of great guys, and that really allowed us to get up and running very quickly. I mean, I think we opened our doors in January of 2006, and by March we had our first map that we were running around shooting people with. Shooting each other with, but we've really essentially kind of redone the entire engine ever since that time to really support the needs that FireFall has. And we have a lot of specific needs. Our entire tool chain, our pipeline is very custom, very specific. It's our own engine, and we're super excited about where it's at today. Will there be a maximum number of abilities a top-tier frame can hold? Currently, we're saying yes, and that maximum is 3, so that you're really forced to mix and match to choose from the many available abilities which 3 you want to go into battle with. And this was something that we actually early on, internally, this is not something we ever shared externally, but internally we actually had 6 ability slots where you could actually equip all 6 different abilities. What we found is it really becomes it takes away from kind of the action and the skill of combat and makes it more of a button mashing experience where you're trying to reach over to hit 5 or 6, and that really kind of took away from the core fun that we were trying to achieve.
Okay, I see another question about how big is the open world in comparison to WoW. Interesting thing, we never actually measured WoW in anything except internal, like, chunks. And so I can only tell you chunk-wise what it is, and then FireFall uses an entirely different chunk size. What I can say is that the initial playable area that we've built out so far is about 10 square miles. And of that, actually it's a little bigger now. We've added probably another square mile or a square mile and a half. And of that, it'll be surrounded by melding. 25% of that will be playable at first because we want players to actually work together to push the melding back to reveal more territory. But even that said, I mean, if you look at our Forge editor, which is our editor that we use to build the game, that's just one spot on the Earth. That's like 1/10 the scale. So our hope is to keep developing more and more of the places on the planet as players reveal more and more of the melding.
Monkey Can asked if we'll have in-game voice, and absolutely. We're a very social game. That's critical to us. It's important. We have text chat. We have a voice chat system that we built internally that we haven't rolled out to our beta testers yet, but we are anxious to get out there because we all know that voice can really help with strategizing and playing together as a team. Blueprint 14 asks, can we use an external controller for FireFall? Yes, we currently have support for controllers. That's something that we will continue to work on and make sure that new inputs, new UI elements that we add to the game map very closely to the controller so that those who prefer it have that option.
How are you guys going to be supporting the modding community?
Well, right now, this is something that we're still talking about internally because we started with just the UI, right? Our UI system uses Lua and XML much in the way that the WoW system does, but because we're a shooter, we started creating more and more really custom-specific widgets. So now we're wondering, well, gee, do we suddenly make it too complicated for mods? That said, I'd still like to find a way to do it, and we still want to look at it. It's just not a priority right now. As far as levels, one day we'd love to see that. Our tools don't are not configured for that. It's really hard to make a next-gen graphics game, and our whole tools, especially an online game, our whole tool setup is set up only to run in Office. So we would have to rewrite that to make it an external thing. But I think that's a worthy goal. It's just not going to happen anytime soon.
But we, to kind of back up what Mark was just saying, like we have made decisions not to do certain, not to use like Scaleform or other UI engines, because specifically it would make it so that we couldn't support community mods down the road. So that is something that we think a lot about, and we definitely want to support down the road.
So I see a question about will we be releasing more backstory lore, and another question about the status of the manga. The manga is being written by Orson Scott Card with Emily Card, his daughter, and illustrated by Joing from Studio Udon, and it's looking fantastic. We got the first issue in the can all colored, but we're waiting to get issue 2 and issue 3 in the pipe because we basically want to release it very, very regularly. We don't want to like give you issue 1 and then have to wait. We want to just release on the fly. So just a little bit longer, and we should start that process up pretty shortly here.
Hey, Firewater asks if you'll be able to support different player profiles for different module configs per class. What I'm hearing, if I'm understanding the question correctly, it's like when you go into PvP, will you be able to choose your offensive strength medic as well as your defensive strength medic? And the answer is absolutely yes. Our loadout system is specifically designed to support that specific thing. So we want you to be able to customize different loadouts so that maybe your offensive strength medic loadout is all about your vampiric beam, so you can drain energy and some of your offensive style abilities. But your defensive one has self-heal, and it has your overhealed beam and healing pulse, things like that. So we want you to be able to very quickly and easily jump between different battle frame loadouts, and there you have it.
So I see one question from Artie Kazifki. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. How often will there be content updates? So I can speak a little bit about that in terms of how are we planning to evolve FireFall over the year, and what does that mean in terms of frequency of contents. So as you, the players, are playing the world of FireFall, you are advancing the world of FireFall as you're playing it. Pushing back the melding will expose new areas of terrain. In these new terrain areas will be new resources which you can then use to craft new technologies. So as you guys are actually winning the war against the melding and pushing it back, you will have access to more and more resources, which give you more and more opportunities to build more powerful weapons, better battle frame types, better modules, all those sorts of things, and eventually, going out and capturing your own bases.
So I see a question about, will exploration in the open world be rewarded? For example, are there collectibles on the top of high mountains? It's important to note that FireFall is actually, we feature horizontal progression, so that means that you're not necessarily super powerful at the top level versus, like a 30 versus 10 could still go head to head, and as long as the level 10 player was skilled can defeat the level 30 player. So what that means for our world is you don't just go from point A to point B to point C and never go back to point A. You need special resources from all over the world in order to craft some of this important stuff. And so you're going to need to basically unveil the world and explore it in order to find all of these unique resources.
So it looks like Zach5 is saying, can players play all 5 battle frames at start? And the answer is yes. We'll probably limit the number of customizable loadouts that you can try, but we don't know which battle frame you're going to like, and we're designing our battle frames, to fit different kinds of skill levels, from low twitch to high twitch skills. So it's important for us to give you the freedom to figure out which battle frame you want to start with, and then you're free to expand from there at your own rate.
D-Turbo Killer asks about our social experience, and is it glorified chat, basically, or actually are you going to be able to sit down with your army mates and make plans and have challenges and achievements? And, we have a lot of really big plans there. It is a lot more than just chat. We want to give armies really an identity. So players will be able to create their own army, name it, design their own logos, but actually go into battle together to compete for stats and rankings, and also to work together to collect resources in order to unlock certain technologies that your army will then be able to take into battle, both in PvP and in the open world. We have a lot of plans. We haven't worked on a couple of these things yet, but we have a lot of plans for allowing armies to actually coordinate scheduled games, to schedule out practices, and to be able to practice with them on their own or against other armies. And so there's a lot of stuff there that we'll be continuing to kind of roll out over time that we're super excited about.
FF Ganja asks, will the melding get more difficult as we reveal more square miles? I wouldn't say that the territory that you unveil is more difficult. Again, we're horizontal progression. You're just going to encounter new story missions as well as new types of dynamic events in that area. But we always want it to be a little more dangerous whenever you're near the melding curtain. So whenever you're close to the melding, the encounters hopefully will be a little more challenging than if you're in the safer parts of the area. I see another question from Master of FM. Will there be PvP stat counter implemented down the line? I assume you mean like ladder stats and everything else. In fact, Scott's been working on that for the past couple of weeks here with his feature team, and we've got some pretty cool stuff that's already working that I hope we can begin to push out to our testers. I see a question from Hoder asking how many girls I have in my basement. No, actually the question is, can you talk more about Stage 5 TV, the website you launched, and what you're currently recruiting for, and what's the use of this website? So we're not really ready to reveal in entirety what Stage 5 is going to be about, but we are looking for web developers in particular, both back-end as well as designers, and we're also looking for some people who have experience with video, obviously, people who, especially anyone who does like compositing or After Effects type work, special effects, things like that, or 3D modelers who can do like, I don't know, say matte paintings, backgrounds, things like that, without giving away too much.
A Thunder Viewer 16 asks, okay about the armies, but how is the small group interface, aka 2 to 4 people in a party or a group or squad? Absolutely, you are able to form squads and go into battle as a squad. You share in the rewards, both XP and resources that you're collecting. So whether you're in the open world or in PvP, it always pays to squad up and to help each other out. You'll see your squad mates' health and status on the side of the screen. You'll also see information about your squads on the world map, so you can quickly find out where they're at and go to them. But we really want you to be able to have the tools to very quickly coordinate battle, and so we want to give you opportunities to mark objectives, to share missions, and to also share things like if you're running a thumper and someone wants to join you, they jump in your squad, and they certainly benefit from being in that squad with you.
All right, I see a couple questions about character customization. The first one is, can we customize our characters after creating? And then the second question is, how much character customization is there when first making your person? So there's your character is important in FireFall. It's a representation of what you feel inside, and your first choices that we offer you will be interesting, but change is a positive thing, and we want you to be able to change your character over time, and so we plan on giving you lots of options to do that. War painting is just one example of how you can customize your character to be more individual. You can also customize your character with your army to be representative of your group. War paint is just one aspect of character customization. Other areas that we're looking at are voice sets. Everybody wants a slamming mustache. I mean, who doesn't, really? So we plan on offering lots of those as well, too. Let us know how you would want to customize your characters, and if it makes sense, we'll do it.
Armadillo Kid asks, will you be able to have a personal vehicle, and if so, will you be able to customize it? The answer is absolutely yes. You'll be able to earn your own personal vehicle. And let me just throw this out. Wouldn't it be an awful shame if you couldn't customize it?
Oh, damn shame. Someone threw out a hard question. I don't mind hard questions, so I'll go ahead and pick it up even though it's not here on our main list, which is basically, was our PAX presence overblown? Damn right it was. We were sick of people saying, yeah, I heard about this game called FireFall at PAX, but I couldn't find their booth. So we decided to fix that. Maybe we overdid it, but I think
the bathrooms may have been going too far.
The bathrooms were probably a little too far.
But I don't know one person who left PAX without knowing anything about FireFall.
It's true, it worked.
I like the big thumper display. I thought that was a nice touch.
I think we won like 6 awards for our carpet. because we you know, because
that was all Phobos, man. He's like, we are not going to show without double carpeting.
It was very plush. It was nice.
Relia asks, will US and US be able to play together? Yeah, there's no restrictions on that, but you really want to watch your ping time because if you're trying to connect to the US from Europe, it's not going to be the best experience. And we will definitely have server clusters out there in Europe, but yeah, there's nothing that's going to prevent you from, you know, connecting with each other if you really want to.
But our anti-latency technology, Mark,
it's actually pretty good. We've got European players in the beta now, and they only complain about lag half the time. So that's a 50% improvement there. Will the melding curtain be dynamic? I.e., will it be a non-moving edge, or will it be, the melding moves, dude? It's been moving for the past 3 years, and it sweeps in like a tide and sweeps out. And we're currently experimenting with ways that you can, you know, temporarily expose areas of terrain.
When you hear the sound of the melding, you want to run, right? I mean, this is a major component to the game, and you know, players will actually learn throughout the course of playing FireFall. They'll learn more about the melding and actually have some interesting opportunities to interface with the melding. Definitely.
Will Red 5 be touring this year? I think that's Maroon 5, not Red 5 you're asking about. We're going to be at a bunch of shows. We're going to be shows are the best way to connect direct to gamers. You know, we won't be at E3, but that's traditionally an industry show anyways, and we want to talk to gamers. So we'll be at PAX, and we're going to be at our show list will be up soon. I think Matt has more information about that.
So Tilter asks, how soon do you plan to run tournaments after the game has been released? You know, to be honest, we've actually already held a couple tournaments, and they've been a huge success. We held a tournament. Well, internally we're doing a tournament now, but externally at last July we went to Korea and we held a tournament with 40 hardcore shooter fans in Korea, and it was a lot of fun.
Top shooter clans.
Yeah,
not just huge fans, but real professional players, and they gave the game a workout.
Yeah, and they really had a wonderful time, a wonderful experience, and they gave us some terrific feedback that we incorporated into the game. And then in November, we went back to Korea to G-Star in Busan, and we had another tournament there live and broadcast. It was broadcast, and it was there with hundreds of gamers standing around the booth, around the stage, watching our tournaments, having a blast. So I think, to answer your question, I think we've already started there, and we have big plans moving forward this year to keep the momentum going with our tournaments.
So, Frohammer has a question. Pushing back the melding, does that mean that anyone who joins the game late is going to have less to do? No. Pushing back the melding actually reveals more content, gives you more stuff to do, and there's always more melding to push back. So if you didn't make it for the first push, you can help put down repulsors and do the second one.
VSync asks about the PvE AI. How competent is the PvE AI? It's something that we're really, it's something that we're always improving on and always working on. But what's cool is that with FireFall, we wanted to invest in really building a dynamic world. We really wanted the world to feel different every single time you logged in. And so instead of having our designers hand place spawn points and hand script behaviors for what exactly this NPC is going to do when you walk by and so forth, we've actually invested in our FireFall behavior engine, which actually has the AI control their behaviors as they're going through the world based on the environments, based on what players are doing, based on surrounding enemies. So for example, 2 days ago I was running through Northern Coral Forest, and I was walking by one of our watchtowers, and I looked down the cliff and I saw all of these Chosen who were patrolling, but they got distracted because they realized there was a watchtower that was owned by the Accord right where I was at. And so they immediately started running up the hill and attacking the NPC guards that were at the watchtower. Now that was not a scripted event, that was not designed, that was not intended, really to happen. Well, it was intended to happen, but it wasn't authored to happen like that. And so our AI is really designed to support these really interesting, cool kind of encounters that maybe we haven't even intended from time to time, right? Like that things are just happening and the world is alive.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be lots of emergent gameplay based around, the NPCs, their motivation, what it is that they're trying to achieve, and then you coming along and ruining their day. And in turn, they also want to ruin your day as well, too. So one of the other questions I saw at the top was about additional vehicles in terms of our LGV. Well, if you've watched any of our videos, you've probably seen a couple. We have the dropship, and we also have the APC. We do plan on adding more vehicles to the game that do different sorts of services for the players. But, I'm adamant that, fighting against a vehicle as a pedestrian player has to be a fun experience. So you won't see us putting vehicles in that ruin that experience from the pedestrian player versus the vehicle. Because it's, I want to be able to shoot you in the face, and if I can't do it while you're driving the vehicle, then there's something wrong with that.
So there's a question, I can't see the name, but can you distract the AI? And yeah, that's absolutely another case where, sometimes you'll be being chased by some spiderites or mosquitoes, and if you run them into a group of opposing type of creatures, or let's say chosen, they'll actually start fighting each other, and you can stand back and actually take a break and heal up and feel good about yourself for using the environment to actually help yourself in the battle.
I see a question about level cap that I've been avoiding from Sergeant Feelgood. We're not announcing what our level cap is right now, so sorry about that. Then I see a question about, will the Chosen be released right after you open the PvE? When the open world goes live, Chosen invasions are definitely going to be dynamic events that you'll see. Our achievement's still in the game by Chocobo Groms. Achievements are planned. They are not currently in the game. That's something that is very important to us, though. And let's see. Talk server system, cross-server play, one giant server. We actually don't have individual servers. We have channels, and so basically we have about 300 players per open world fragment, and you can and we prefer to group you by your friends list as well as your army affiliations, but you can also channel hop if you want. Let's see. Who is the third person in the cosplay program? Wouldn't you like to know? That will be revealed in the near future, I hope. I really want to get started to do more with the cosplay stuff, and we've got some more stuff planned for that will be coming online too on probably on stage 5.
Will there be other movement abilities besides jump jets and gliders? Absolutely.
So FF Ganja asks, how much beer do you guys drink each day? And this is really kind of a hand-in-hand question for how do you get into the beta for FireFall? Because if you actually send beer, you will increase our beer drinking quotient as well as earning yourself a spot in the beta.
What kind of beer do you guys like?
Oh, man.
So we have a fairly eclectic taste. We all have different preferences, ranging from porters to, whatever.
There's a shrine for Guinness.
But our goal is, we think that you are drinking some really awesome stuff, and we want to know what it is. So send us your favorite drink.
There's a question, would you guys describe combat as Twitch-based, like older FPS, or more along the line of modern shooters? And, to be honest, we do talk about Twitch level of the game, and really we've tried to design FireFall to be approachable and accessible to a wide range of gamers with different skill levels as well as different styles of combat. And so we've designed battle frames such as the Recon to really reward pixel perfect accuracy and to really play into the Twitch level that that a lot of gamers really prefer. And but we've also designed battle frames such as the Engineer or the Medic to be maybe on the lower end of the Twitch factor, but to have other options for tactical combat.
Well, I think, part of the question was, what's the feel of the shooting action like? And we're less like a Call of Duty, I would say. Some players have said we feel a little bit like Unreal, we feel a little bit like Quake, a little bit like Tribes. And so maybe on that spectrum, is that accurate, Scott? That we're probably closer to that, closer about the mobility and everything else, and than the more static, in some ways, modern shooter. So what happens if the player goes into the melding? Panda failed. That's an interesting name. Wow, much? So what will happen if you go into the melding? Bad things. Basically your armor will start to smoke. It's not a barrier that you can't penetrate. In fact, people in the beta have been trying to. We have a little taste of the melding in there. They've been trying to use medics to daisy chain or daisy heal their way deeper and deeper into the melding because you take a lot of damage. Hasn't worked so far, but I expect somebody someday to get to places where they're not supposed to.
And there'll be something cool when you get there. So, see a question from Bresl's. Will there be a metagame in terms of loadout so people will use guides and stuff like that, or can you truly customize however you like and still be balanced? So in terms of being able to customize a loadout, battle frames are really geared toward being played a certain way. But within that, we want you to have lots of opportunities to kind of specialize how you intend to play that battle frame in that particular way. So to give you an example of one example of that, we have our medic battle frame where your choices include not only just your abilities, but also your primary weapon. And so one of the alt fires is like a vampiric lock-on beam weapon, which is a more of an offensive style weapon choice versus the overheal, which is more of a team support choice. So even though I'm playing a medic, just my choice of an alt fire can influence how I tend to play that particular loadout. And that's one of the real power behind the loadout system for FireFall, is that we want you to think of, I want to play this guy that way, and then maximize your ability to do that by your ability modules, your battle frame modules, your weapon frame modules, and how you choose to use those.
Hey, Superior, what's up? What's happening, man? One of our most active beta testers asks for competitive play, will you have things like monthly ladders? Absolutely. We have big plans for our competitive side of the game with ladders, leaderboards, as well as leagues. We want players to be able to jump in and join leagues that are relative to their skill level, and to be able to join as armies and to go head-to-head with others as well. Okay, we got 4 minutes.
Frohammer asks, what is the point of living? Oh, leveling. And the point of leveling is to basically, you do get a modest power increase, but it unlocks more types of battle frames that you can equip, you get higher power slots, and you can equip more types of gear to give you more tactical options in combat. Blind What If asks, are items dropped freely, picked up, or specific to you? They are freely picked. Yes, they are. Because you have access to all the battle frames, all the gear is theoretically usable to you. Insp _ asks, do you plan to release some FireFall API? Yes, we do. We're building a web services API into the game that we use internally right now, and we will begin to reveal that as it matures to the general public. Miniman 10,000 asks, is the repulsor drop down the same way as a thumper? Not quite. So right now you don't deploy repulsors in the beta, and we haven't figured out exactly how that's going to work yet.
We have ideas.
Scott has ideas.
There's a question about asking, when are we planning to reveal our 6th battle frame? Later.
Later.
As soon as you guys push back the melding, maybe it'll happen. All right, Fapcore says, will we be able to join multiple armies to play with different groups of friends, but perhaps only represent one at a time and only have use of that one's tech tree that we're representing? That's an interesting question. What do you guys think?
There's a question, any other languages? I didn't see the first question, Techie09. Were you asking programming languages or localized languages? Do you see, Matt?
About local.
We use a wide range. C++ is...
ones and zeros, mostly.
It's binary, baby. Ones and zeros. We use a lot of C++, but we also have a lot of different tools that we use C#, and we have a lot of web services as well. We're big on... What's that? Lua. We're big on Ruby. We use Lua for our UI and some of our encounter support as well.
DJ Jazzman asks, will there be cash shop cosmetics like other weapons that look different than the current weapons we see? For example, the assault rifle that is used in the cinematic cosplay video. Yes, you've picked up on the fact that that's nowhere to be seen in the game currently. Since we've spent so much time building it, though, you could probably rest assured it'll appear in the game somewhere, maybe even as a commercial look upgrade. Yeah, we want to do a lot of stuff with looks, but we're not going to do any sort of weapon swaps right now, and we have to be careful about those because you want to be able to recognize the weapon that you're fighting against. Let's see. Panda failed. How many weapons modules will there be in the game? Will there be restricted for certain classes? Will they be universal? Will there be universal weapons which are in general more average? That's a lot of questions in one question. We've generated tons of modules. What we're doing is we're trying to filter that down to the core that's going to be really fun and usable. It's not about how much you have. It's how well you use what you have and how interesting you can make it. Lomgren asks, how hard is it going to be to rate players for PvP with different battle frames and skill levels on each? It's a bitch, and that's why we're not using a rating system right now to matchmake people in the beta, because we are still working on that.
So K-Food Party says, has anyone cut Apex's hair yet? And I don't think there are a pair of scissors on this planet that will get through that.
The night is young.
All right.
All right.
And I think that brings us to the end of our chat.
Jesus Christ.
It's Tiki time here at Red 5, and we want to thank you guys all so very much for joining us here. It's always nice to chat with you all.
Thank you.
Rock and roll. Keep it real. Break it down.
Awesome. Thank
Respect.
You so much.
Thank you, Destructoid and Daniel, for
Thank you,
joining
Daniel.
us.
Thank you, guys.
Destructoid.
Have a great night.
It's Tiki.
See you guys online.
time.
Thank you. Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah, no
Thanks,
problem.
Sam.
Thank you guys so much.
Appreciate it, man.
All right.
Cool. Let's start drinking.
Okay.
Live with sound. Go.
Oh. Hi, Mom.